Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Big time stereo. Maybe it's in mono. I don't know. I'm just kidding. But
You practiced that all day, haven't you, Tyler?
I really didn't. I'm not that cool. I couldn't be that. I didn't. Make sure I turn my phone off because y'all know that craziness is going to happen. Okay, so tonight we're going to be in Mark 9. It's going to be a story we've talked about. But also, it's going to be something I believe, like through these next 2 weeks, I said it kind of last week, but like, this is an opportunity to be real, to be genuine, like to really grow. And to do that, we got to do that through these next 2 weeks, for real. I mean, we always got to do that, let's be real. Like, what I love about plants is they tell you if they're dying because their leaves are dying, like they show you. But like in our life, so many times it's easy. In our life, so many times it's not that easy, right? Like there's masks we can put on and things we can put on. I'm gonna say through this, let's not have that. Let's do everything we can because I promise there's gonna be something good in it if we do that. I've never once not had something not be genuine and then not grow from it. You know what I mean? So over these next few weeks, that's what we're gonna do because we're talking about this thing called hope in the dark, and it's easy to talk about. It's great to be like, yes, I have that, and say you have it, but inside you have this tension that you're ready to like be the Kool-Aid man and jump through a wall because you're so frustrated. Like, I don't know about you, but we can all get there, right? Like, yes, it's that time, right? Like,
Yes.
Oh,
yeah!
We have like football season and we see a hit, we hit the truck skid.
That's my Kool-Aid man
Yeah, right. So, tonight we're going to be talking about that. We're going to talk about this question, where are you, God? So,
Hey, we have an actual event this week.
we do, and there's Bible, I did not mention that. Bible app, if you're on there, once again, I'm trying to do that more often. I'll get help soon enough to get that. I'm trying to stay on top of it, but I'm trying to put the scripture up if you have the Bible app. If you look, you'll see Greenhouse Gathering on there. You can see the scripture. Hopefully every week. If I miss a week, forgive me until I can get in a better routine of getting there. So if you got the Bible app, it's there. If you've got your Bible, let's go ahead and get from Mark 9. This is how you know there is hope in the dark, because I'm speaking from Mark. Now, that's a big deal. It's a big deal. Mark is not the one I speak from most of the time, right? So, you got your Bible. We're going to be in Mark 9, and we're going to start with verse 17, but here's how I want to set it up. There's a Bible reading plan called Hope in the Dark, and I'll tell you where the series comes from, and we'll dive in. Craig Rochelle just wrote a book called Hope in the Dark, and it released this week, coincidentally, the same time that we're doing this series, okay? So, right now there is a Bible reading plan on there. I think it's 14 days, 12 days, I can't remember, 12 or 14 days. If you go to the Bible app, you can look at it, and it'll kind of partner with this a little bit. It won't quite line up maybe scripturally all the way through, but the themes may be the same, or the concept may be the same. But it started off with this, and I was like, man, this is perfectly where we're going to start for Where Are You, God, okay? So if you've got that, you're looking for something to do in your quiet time. There are some of us that are reading it together. You can join and be a part of it, but you don't have to. You can do it on your own time and do it yourself, but it takes 5 minutes, and it's totally worth it. So that is a Bible reading plan called Hope in the Dark. But the funny thing is, Craig Rochelle wrote this book, and the first study is perfect because it asks the question, where are you, God? But it also has this story that goes with it, and it's perfect for what it is. So let me just say this. Imagine in today's time where you are, you read a headline, and it says, 36-year-old father of 3, killed by drunk driver less than a mile from his home. Drunk driver walks away with minor injuries. What does that feel like when you read that and hear that?
Right.
It feels, you're upset.
It's wrong.
It's angry, right? Like, you're filled with these emotions, right? And so the crazy thing is that was the headline of my life as a 2-year-old. Olivia's there, like that was our headline. And all those tensions that you manage about God and all the things you feel about who God is in those moments is that. Because how I look at that story is, do I connect with the Father who has children? Do I connect with the Father who is a deacon, is a leader in the church? Do I connect with the drunk driver who is in sin and like is struggling with a problem, but walks away with minor injuries? And what do I look at God in that? Like, how do I wade through that? Because I have to get through that to see who God is and see where God is if I can truly reconcile the fact that God is good and that there is hope in the dark. And so the reason I started with that is if you do read that, there's a story he starts with, and a guy his wife was killed by a drunk driver, and he was struggling with this 18 years later. And I can tell you, I think you struggle with it your whole life. It's not something that you just immediately get over. But I can always go back to that fact and say, hey, that's not the headline of my life. It may be the thing that a lot of people know me by, but it's where I can find my hope in the dark. And I think if we're honest, that's where we can be when we're searching for hope in the dark, is sometimes we have a headline in our life, right? There is a tragedy. There is something that we've had to walk through in our life, some way, shape, or form. The tragedy might have been we went to the grocery store, they had no honey mustard or cheese or banana pudding, or we went to the job and all of a sudden we've been working and we've been paid every month, and how they told us we were fired is they just didn't give us a paycheck. They didn't tell us that we were fired, they just didn't give us a paycheck, right? Or maybe we had the child that was the prodigal that all of a sudden said, I'm done with you. I'm going to go live my life the way that it's supposed to be and the way that I want to be it, and they still haven't come home yet. Like, there are things that we can struggle with in these tragedies that are headlines that we feel like can define us in certain seasons. And in those seasons, that's where I ask these questions. Where are you, God? And if I'm completely honest, we do, right? Can't all of us say that we've done that? Whoever, what headline, whatever season we've been in, we can say, where are you, God? And maybe we don't connect exactly with someone else's headline, but how we can connect with them is, we're asking the question, where are you, God? And even though we know there's hope in the dark, we got to walk with that person through that. Because that's the hardest thing. It's easy for me to stand up and tell you, hey, here's how you lose weight. Here's how you get in shape. You work out 20 times a day, you eat clean, and you're going to be ready to go. Or you work out daily and you eat clean, you're going to lose weight. It's a lot harder to do it, though, right? Yeah. Ain't it a lot harder to do it? I can tell you how to sell a house. I can tell you how to do things. But it's a lot harder than to actually do it. Like, that's the thing that's really hard. And so that's what I'm talking about in this series, where we just have to be completely open. Is sometimes we got to talk with others to actually know how to do it well. I heard it described this way, and then we're diving in. I know, I'm not going to take forever. I heard it described this way in actually a reading plan I was doing with some folks not too long ago. What if there are other people in your life hold the keys to unlock the potential God has in you? And you have a key in your hand. And the biggest mistake in the Christian faith is that we believe our key unlocks our heart, but it unlocks someone else's. It unlocks someone else's potential. And so through this series, if you're genuine and you put your key on the table, I promise you, you're going to unlock something in someone else that they didn't even know could be unlocked in a good way. And you're going to have something unlocked in you. That only happens through genuineness. Okay? So here we go. 20 minutes later. Okay, here we go. Mark 9, verse 17. Then I'll get us out of here like 12:30 or 1. I don't know. Excellent. All right. We got AC, so I'm happy. Praise God for air conditioning. And you let me live in a time such as this. Jesus might have walked around, but he better have had a fan. I'm just saying. Okay. A man in the crowd answered, Teacher, I brought my son who is possessed by a spirit that has robbed him of speech. Whenever it seizes him, it throws him to the ground. He foams at the mouth, gnashes his teeth, and becomes rigid. I asked her disciples to drive out the spirit, but they could not. You unbelieving generation, Jesus replied, how long shall I stay with you? How long shall I put up with you? Bring the boy to me. I don't know, maybe Jesus didn't have a high voice at that, I don't know. So they brought him. When the spirit saw Jesus, it immediately threw the boy into a convulsion. He fell to the ground and rolled around, foaming at the mouth. Jesus asked the boy's father, how long has he been like this? From childhood, he answered, it has often thrown him into fire. How crazy is that? Ever had a kid that they threw themselves in a fire? And in water to kill him, drown him. But he can do nothing. Take pity on us and help us. So when we're asking this question, where are you, God? A lot of times we're in wonder. We're wondering about who God is. These are all going to be one-word answers. I wish it's not going to be a cool lacrosse thing, so don't hang in there with me and think, oh, yeah, I'm working on it. We're getting there. But we wonder. Like, if I'm this man, that's what's happening, is I'm wondering. Right? I'll put it to you this way. We had chemo treatment for the cancer, and it didn't work. And there's a wonder drug that's supposed to help. There's a trial thing, and we want to go do it, right? Like, I imagine that's where this man's been. He's tried all the wonder drugs, the 12-step programs, all the things, he's read all the books on his son, how to cast out demons with success, you know. And then they went from 12 to 3 steps and casting out demons for dummies. Like, he's done all these things. So much so that he even got some church people to come over to the house and pray over the boy. Right? Isn't that where we are sometimes with our walk when we're asking where God is we wonder if he really is. Like it says, this man, he literally comes to Jesus. So he's heard about Jesus. He knows his son can be there. And what does he say? Take pity on us and help us. So he's wondering, is Jesus who he says he is? Like, is Jesus really who he says he is? Like, I know I hear about these miracles, but I wonder if he really cares enough about me to do it. Because Jesus rebuked him and said, you crazy generation. He says, how crazy is this generation? Like, how long will I put up till you bring the boy to me? But if I'm completely honest, as we're searching for hope in the dark, we wonder, is God really good? Like, if God's really so good, why am I going through this? Because this child is supposed to be a blessing. How many of us have blessings in our life that feel like, hey, throw us in the fire, try to drown us, like all kinds of crazy things? You know? Like, there are blessings in our life. And he said, Jesus, this is your blessing, and I'm trying to steward what you called me to steward. And yet, all of a sudden, it seems like this thing, I've tried everything. But I'm finally coming to you. But I still wonder, will you do it? Hey, will you just take pity on us? And I don't know about you, but you talk about your pride being down. When you have to ask someone to take pity on you, doesn't that just feel like your walls are down? Like you're just starting to be genuine with somebody when you just say, hey, I'm sorry, or hey, will you just take pity on me? Like, will you just have pity on me? Like, I know you can do this, and I didn't even have to bring my son here to you to do it, but will you just have pity on me? When we're asking where God is a lot of times, that's how we approach him at the beginning is, I wonder if he hears me. I wonder if he really is there. It's like an angels in the outfield moment, right? Like, God, if you're real, let the angels win the pennant. Like, you just wonder, where are you, God? Like, because I've called the church people in, and they gave me an answer, and the boy's still running in the fire, and still running in the water, right? And now all of a sudden, here we are, and I see that Jesus is here, and he seems to be something greater. At this moment, he just might have been a prophet, but he heard about the healing. Everybody thought it was just a prophet again coming in. He really wasn't the Messiah. He talked about some things, but they didn't truly believe where he was, and so they wondered, where are you, God, in this moment? So that's the first thing that I feel like we can be with him. Maybe we can identify with this man. Then we've got a couple verses here as we keep on when we're asking, where are you, God? And this is my favorite part, and if I'm completely honest, I've heard this spoken and preached about so many times that a lot of times this is my prayer in my life, believe it or not. Verse 23 says this, if you can, said Jesus, like, if you can, like, have you not heard? Like, I know who I am. If you can, everything is possible for the one who believes. That word is so cool. Immediately, the boy's father exclaimed, I do believe. Help me overcome my unbelief.
That's a little ambivalent there.
It's a little different, right?
That's a little.
But this is my prayer. I've heard this like preached a lot, and I've heard it spoken on eloquently and awesomely. But it makes me like I look at those two verses, and that's so cool to me. It's because sometimes I just hope Jesus takes pity on me. Like, have you not seen all I'm doing? Like, come on, Jesus, take pity on me. If you can do this, and Jesus is just like, you don't know me. Like, I am who I say I am. If I can do this, if you can do this, like, if Jesus had long hair, it might have been flopping, I don't know, like, he was getting ready. You can do this. And he says, everything's possible for the one who believes. And so the man says, okay, that's it, that's the wonder drug. Yeah, I believe, I believe, that's cool, I'll take 12. I'll take 12 of those things. Will they make me lose weight? Yeah, that's awesome, so I just got to sleep with it on. That's it. I'll lose 50 pounds. I'll take 12. That's it. That's fine. I'll be a marketer for it. I don't care. That's good. That's good, right? Like, he's thinking, okay, all I got to do is say I believe. Don't we get stuck there? We're stuck in the wonder. And we say, hey, I believe. But what I love about it is his genuineness of his faith is, I do believe. But help me overcome my unbelief. Like, I believe.
I believe a little bit.
I
got
believe.
A little bit of unbelief right now.
Yeah, but my unbelief outweighs my belief, and the tension that I have is God good? I believe he's good, but what I see is my son, my pride and joy, like the thing that is my blessing, is literally throwing himself in the fire. He's killing himself. And so the second thing that we ask when we ask where is God is, we got to embrace. And so we start by going through wonder, and then we got to embrace. What I mean by embrace is, you could say embracing, but like we embrace our unbelief. We embrace our genuineness when we come to Jesus. Because here's the thing. So many times I think we wouldn't have, for lack of a better term, the cajones to tell Jesus, I believe, but help me overcome my unbelief. Like a lot of times when I'm talking with Jesus about that, hey, I believe you're going to do all this. Like it's easy to get fired up and things are stomping and you're ready to go and somebody's ready, the sashes are out, like, you know, you're ready to go and the tambourine's playing and the ribbons are waving. One Sunday. Anyway, all those things are happening in your hype. It's easy to get hype and say you believe, and in that moment you believe, but all of a sudden, when you look at what's around you, it's like, man, I believe, but everything else around is failing. Everything around me is falling apart. It's crashing in. Because that, I guarantee you, the Father, when He said, I believe, He still looked at His Son that wasn't healed. And He says, I believe, if all it takes is me believing, but He's still foaming at the mouth. He's still convulsing. Like, isn't that how we feel sometimes when we're searching for hope in the dark? Like when we're searching for God? We wonder if He is who He says He is. And in the moment He reveals Himself that He is who He says He is, we say, I'm not quite there. Like, I'm a little bit on the hook. I'm not quite there. Like, I'm almost there. I'm almost there, but I'm not quite there. And not the positive affirmations, the things that we can do all day long can't live up to who Jesus is. And so we try to hype ourselves into believing He is who He is, right? We try to have enough storms, read enough of our Bible, right? Like, we just read enough of our Bible that He is who He says He is, and He's going to do what I ask Him to do. He says if I just believe, He'll do anything. And that's where this man is. He's wondering. But he embraces his unbelief. And it leads to the last thing that we can do, and then we'll be done. Rock on. I was going to have Jim dress up and be like the child, but we didn't get to communicate earlier. He was going to run through the fire for y'all. It was going to be great.
He loves to do that.
I do. It's going to be a ring of fire. It's going to be anyway.
I'm good with that.
We're going to sing Johnny Cash. It's going to be great. So, verse 25, and then we'll be done. As a the ring of fire. You're welcome. All right.
That was good. That was good. Little Johnny Cash.
When Jesus saw the crowd running to the scene, He rebuked the impure spirit, said, You deaf and mute spirit, I command you, come out of him, never enter him again. The spirit shrieked like a 90s boy band, convulsed him violently. It didn't say that, so whoever's watching this, I'm sorry, I'm not trying to change the word of God. I have to laugh every now and then. Convulsed him violently and came out. The boy looked so much like a corpse that many said, He's dead. How many of us would stop at verse 26?
They killed him.
God, why did you kill him?
Yeah.
Because when I'm completely honest and I have that little bit of unbelief and I'm begging God to help me overcome my unbelief, I stop at verse 26. Because the world tells me they're dead. The world tells me to give up on them. The world tells me that it's not enough. The world tells me that there is no hope in the dark. Yet you can have that little bright light of, you know what, I don't know why you're hanging on to this. The world can say, where is your God now in the midst of all this struggle? Where is your God in the country right now? Where is your God that's going on in politics right now? Where is your God in your circumstance? When the cancer comes back, when the person's in ICU, when it looks like there's no hope, He says, what's going on? We stop at verse 26, right? We're almost there. Verse 26, do we stop at verse 26? Because if we're searching for hope in the dark and we say, where is God? I don't believe God's there when I stop at verse 26, right? Because I look at His corpse. I say, God, why? Tell me I just had to believe. You say faith of a mustard seed will move a mountain. And so my little bit of belief, I was honest with you. I told you to help me overcome my unbelief. And I just brought Him here. Even though I tried all the wonder drugs, at least He was alive. There was still a chance. But everyone around Him said, He's dead. And it makes me think, when I'm searching for hope in the dark, do I stop at verse 26? But it goes on. It goes on. It goes on to say this. But Jesus took him by the hand, lifted him to his feet, and he stood up. After Jesus had gone indoors, his disciple asked him privately. He had AC, I told y'all. When he went inside, his disciples asked him privately, why couldn't we drive it out? He replied, this can only come out by prayer. So your last thing is prayer. So when we're asking the question, where is God? We've got to be honest with ourselves, right? We got to, most of the time it starts with us wondering if God is who he says he is. Embracing the fact that we're going to question who God is in this moment. And here's the thing, I don't think God's surprised by that. I mean, he knows what I'm going to ask before I ask it, right? Like, he formed me and knitted me in the womb. He knew that I was going to be at this moment asking him, God, I struggle with you saying you're a good God. And I know your promise is true. And I know that you're going to reveal yourself. But God, I don't feel it right now. I don't believe it. Like I can say it till I'm blue in the face. I can smile. I can pretend it's okay. But I can't deny the fact that my son is sitting there dead. Everybody says he's dead. And yet all of a sudden it shows us our next step in that is when we wonder if God is who he says he is. And we embrace the fact that we can ask that question to him if he really is who he says he is. And that we have a little bit of unbelief. When we go to him in prayer, brand new things happen. He makes all things new. If we just seek him. And when we say that and we go to prayer, we're no longer asking, where are you, God? We're like that little boy. We might have been brought to him, but we stand up and go do what he made us to do. And then our hope in the dark is shared with everyone else. And our light is shared with everyone else. And all of a sudden, don't seem that bad, does it? All of a sudden, we got a story to tell. All of a sudden, not only do we have hope, we hold the keys for everyone else to have hope, because it's not us. We just bring them to Jesus. And he takes all those dead things, and everything that the world says is done, everything the world says is finished, everything the world says is dead. The funny part is, the world's right. Because without Jesus, we are all dead. The world doesn't realize it, because it says, here's how you cover your debt. You cover the stench of your debt with this, Axe Body Spray. I'll shower later. You cover the stench of your death with Febreze or Glade plug-ins. I'm just saying. Like
lavender oil.
Or hey, if it works, it works. Like you cover the stench of death with all these things. You cover it with career. You cover it with money. You cover it with job. You cover it with children. You cover it with college choice. You cover it with discipline. You cover it with all these things, and that's how you cover up the stench of death. But the only way that we can overcome death, we know, is our only hope is Jesus. And yet so many times in the middle of a death situation, a deadly situation, we look there and say what the world says, yep, he's dead. And we stop at verse 26. But our hope brings us verse 27. And so as we're walking through this and we're asking God, where are you? And we're really just being honest with who he is. I wonder if so many times in our life, would we embrace that fact, that it's okay to question God. It's okay to bring it to him. Like, read the Psalms. And you think that David is just, man, there's something wrong with that man, right? But what I love about the Psalms is it's just genuine. Genuine. And those Psalms a lot of times are prayers. Like if you go right now, if you see the Jewish culture, they're doing Psalms. When they're at that Wailing Wall, we talked about that a little, like when they're at the Wailing Wall, they're reading Psalms. They're praying with it. Yeah, so many times in our life, I grew up in a culture where it wasn't okay to question God. It wasn't okay to ask him to reveal himself. There was something wrong with me in that, because you're not believing. You're unbelieving. And God's not surprised that I'm asking that question. So I wonder if we would be honest and genuine enough to know that that's okay. It's okay to ask God. It's okay to be real with God and say, hey, I don't got this. It's not okay. Without you, I don't have this. I'm just dead, flopping around. Literally, I'm dead. And so, in the end, my favorite part about this, before we get to group time, and then we'll be done, and we're actually finished on time, is, like I've been saying, and I'm just pounding the point, but for real, my favorite part of this story is, obviously, we're not Jesus. So, that's great. We have Jesus in us if we have a relationship with him, but we're not Jesus, right? So that's the cool thing. It takes a lot of pressure off, dude. You know, like it takes that Son of God pressure, takes a lot of pressure off us having to do that, right? Like the crowds come and expect us to have the miracle water. Our water runs out. So, we're not Jesus. But sometimes we're the Father in that story. And we're stuck in our unbelief. And we're asking, where are you, God? Sometimes we're that boy in the story. And people literally have to bring us to the feet of Jesus so that we can see him to be who he says he is more than anything. And so I wonder if we understand that, or are we like the crowd that just likes the hype, likes the moment, likes to say that we were a part of it, but don't do anything to act in it. We just sit back and say, hey, that's right, I bought Beanie Babies at the time that it was right? Like, look at my collection, like I was part of the hype, right? Something like that. But what I love about this in the end is that little boy was brought to Jesus, but he walked out with new life. And he might have been brought to Jesus good as dead. But when he surrendered and had nothing else to do, when Jesus said stand up, he couldn't help but follow his word. And he showed his own Father that when he says, if you can do this, that's really what Jesus is doing. He's saying, like, look, when I say stand up, your boy's going to stand up. Because he can't help but follow me in this moment. But right now, these demons, right now, this sin is stopping him from having a relationship with me. But once that's gone, and I make a way for him not to have that, when I call him to go, he will go. And I just think about his Father in that moment. He's not just celebrating that his son is alive, but look at his son's faith. Because Jesus, when everyone said he was dead, grabs him by the hand and says, stand up. Stands up. How crazy is that? All of us at one point were the son, where we were brought to the feet of Jesus, and we had to have this revelation, and we had to have this faith that he is who he says he is. All of us, even after we've met Jesus, we've heard about Jesus, have been the Father, and have been stuck in a season, in a valley, in a rut, where we say, where are you, God? This blessing you called me to is supposed to be so great. This is the thing I prayed for. I just prayed for a son. If you just give me a son, all would be well. And then it came out, and it runs into fire. And it tries to drown itself. And all of a sudden, we're just like, where are you, God, if you're good? Hey, I believe. I'm stuck wondering if you are who you say you are. Like, just embrace the fact that I'm not where I need to be. I understand that. But Jesus, like, can you do something? All of a sudden, when we're there, man, our prayer picks up. Our life picks up. All of a sudden, we have a relationship with him. And we stop asking, where are you, God? We start being like that little boy and say, where do you want me to go, God? What do you want me to do? Who do you want me to show? And so that's kind of what I have for us this first week as we're talking about where are you, God? Because we definitely, I want to make sure that we have time. It's 7:36, so I'd love to be done by 7:45. I know school's going on, folks have things going on, so it's 7:36 right now. So for 10 minutes, get with people around you, and I would love for you to talk about a time when you found yourself wrestling with God. Maybe you were stuck in wondering if God is who he says he is. Maybe you're in a season right now of embracing that unbelief and saying, God, I believe you are who you say you are, but I just don't see it right now. I can't see it in the chaos around me. Or maybe you're in that season of just prayer. Like, you're just praying, and you've gone through the wonder. You know God is who he says he is. You're embracing your unbelief, knowing that, hey, I may not be where I want to be. I'm not where I used to be. But I'm just praying that you do what only you can do. Right? We're stuck in that. So a time in your life when you've been wrestling with God. And then a time that was difficult. And how did you continue to embrace God in the middle of it? So a time you were wrestling with wonder with God, if you want to follow the notes. A time where you embraced God in the middle of your trial. You embraced that little bit of belief by saying, hey, give me belief in my unbelief. And then last at the end, we're going to pray. And I just want to know how we can pray for you. Because no matter what season you're in, all of us are probably asking where you've God somewhere. In the car, when we all go out here and our cars don't start, we're definitely probably going to say, where you got. Earlier today, when the AC wasn't working, I was up, I was like, Jesus, where you God? You know, this ain't going to happen unless somebody shows up today. And he did it. So, 8 minutes. If we do